Hello everyone, a quick video on this tuning, Ryzen 2700 and 16 GB of memory. So we've been running a couple of hours, like almost 3 hours of White Rancher VT3, and I'm gonna now run some hardware info and check temperatures and power readings. The score has been super consistent between 229 and 228 since the beginning. That's not gonna drop because I'm launching hardware info. And here we can see voltages and power readings. The CPU is staying about 60-65 watts as far as I remember. It's currently actually sitting at 44. I might start a Cinebench to get to the 60s. So the CPU is extremely power efficient. It's a 2700 non-X, so that might play a role here. Let's start Cinebench R23 and see how the power goes with that. Yeah, we got a single run. We're running at 48 watts. So the CPU is minus 0.97 for the 0.97, sorry. So almost 0.1 volts of undervolt offset. If I put it 0.1, it just crashes. Memory is running at 1733 megahertz. The SoC is running at 1 volt. That's a very nice round number. Let's see if I can read that from here, from hardware info. Doesn't seem so. Suddenly we're on an ASUS board, so there's not much to read from the sensors because ASUS just... Oh no, here it is. SoC voltage. It's actually reading 0.98, so it's undershooting here. Our power peaked at, it's 63. Here it is. Never gets above like 65, I think. I don't know if that's a power limit for the CPU or just the boost clock limit. I have no idea about that. Let's get to the finish of round 23. 8,500 points, 560 points. That's nice for the amount of power used. So here's Pi Prime 370, White Rancher 2.5 at 239.9. Memory is Hynix A Die. So I did write a custom profile on the XMP here. You can read it here. So these are the values that I'm currently running. I'm gonna now fire up send timings. So CLDO VDDP is 0 to 81. Here you can see all the settings for the memory, or you can also check here that in my custom XMP profile I also included the voltage, which memory voltage is 1.37 here. So slightly overvolt on the memory. And TRCDWR is 8. So yeah, I've been tuning a lot of timings here. I've been playing with this computer a couple of weeks now, and I'm gonna get to the BIOS. I think that's all that remains to check the settings. In the meanwhile, I'm running off the stock cooler. Here we are in the BIOS. So let's get to the advanced mode and check some stuff. So that's DOCP selected from the BIOS. DRAM timing control, TRC64, TWR20 of course, TWR24, TRC is 512. That's minimum. Everything here is minimized. I've been playing for the system for a couple of weeks now, so I know my stuff. The thing that annoys me the most is the offset voltage. I can't run okay, so it's 937, sorry. And I can't run that at 1 because if I do, the system sometimes crashes after I unload a game, after I close a game. It usually happens when I shut down a game, like I close Arc Raiders, Magic Arena, Battlefield 6. And yeah, the system goes to the desktop and crashes with a blue screen. So it has to run at 937 and that's stable. Benchmarks don't crash with 0.1, but that's a different story. SoC, as you can see, is 1. Yeah, I guess that's basically most of them. I didn't touch these. That's the minimum. The 909. I didn't touch this one. I didn't touch this one. And I haven't. Okay, I hadn't touched this CLD or VDP, but I think it's the same that is available on the ASUS menus. I'm now in the AMD submenu, but I don't think there's more to unlock here. So these are all really the voltages, CLD or VDP. Here it is, that I can really work on. And that was the latest Geekbench 6.7.1. Let's check the average for this CPU. So yeah, we're clearly above, like 10% on the single core and a good 20% on the multi-core. So that's nice to see. And a little bit of a background story of the system. So this comes from a client. I did the tuning on the memory and everything like 1 year ago. But since then, for some reason, after I formatted the system, installed a new OS, and yeah, I gave it back to the client, he's been having some weird issues with the connection on his private network, internal network in his architecture studio. And so I took back the computer, just tested a little bit on Wi-Fi and had no problems with connection whatsoever. And in the meanwhile, I gave him a computer with an older 4-core only i7 6700K. And the funnest thing is that this computer, right, that the customer had a 2070 GPU, and the computer I gave him had a Quadro M4000, also slightly tuned. I mean, with a lot of tuning. So was performing basically like a 9070 Ti, but double the frame buffer. But it's still like 1/4 of a 2070, maybe 1/3 of a 3070. And the multi-core score for the CPUs, now this is the average score for a 7700K, sorry, 6700K. I would say that my tuned system would probably run similar to a 7700K, so maybe more in this ballpark. But still, the customer reports a huge improvement in performance and responsiveness of the system. So these older CPUs, this older i7 with only 4 cores, are clearly better for unoptimized software like architecture stuff. And the reason I think is that in the architecture world, most software are used as basically like standard that you have to use. That there is no alternative to Revit, AutoCAD. I don't know what else he uses, but they're all like basically made for one thing, and they have no competition. And that means that they don't really improve their software optimization to make use of multi-core. And so the new system that I gave him, which is actually older, 1 year older, because it's actually a 6700K, still with a lot of tuning, so we can basically take those cores, but has like a lot less multi-core performance, still outperforms very clearly. Because if a customer says that he sees a difference, I mean, sometimes he can say that because of good intentions, but in this case, I offered him the replacement, and he was not happy about that. He wanted his computer to work, but I told him, I don't have any ways to test. Sadly, I don't have a Ethernet connection here. I don't have any means to test your internal network. Let's just swap systems and see what happens. And the new system doesn't disconnect from internal network and is noticeably faster. So he's gonna keep the system. We're gonna swap them for no additional cost. I get a better GPU and a more easier to sell system actually, because it's AMD, and nowadays people are more favorable to AMD than Intel, even if the single core performance is would have been a lot better with the Intel system. Yeah, I guess it's a win-win situation. But I just wanted to report this fun thing. I think single core performance is still king in 2026 for a lot of niche software that are not optimized. They just don't need to optimize that because they have no competition. And that is, I think, really all for the video. Ciao.